amine and amide. We want to see the naming first. So you already know the ammonia is NH3. Primary amine is when your nitrogen is connected to a chain of hydrocarbon. It's just N connected to one carbon. Secondary amine when N is connected to two carbon. Tertiary amine or third degree amine is when N is attached into the three carbon. Okay, so first things we want to see, how do we name, so this is the amines, this N is attached, just N at two ends. We're not talking about this namings, just doing the IUPAC naming, like that one. So here is N attached to ethane, right? So your main chain is the longest chain. So you just have one carbon here. That's why it's going to be what? Methane, and it's alkane. And in the front of that, you say amino ethane. Another naming, because you know this is amine, you consider this one as branch, okay? And you say that methyl amine. Okay, we'll do more example for you to see better. I like this one. The naming is your main chain is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is butane. And first carbon, the nitrogen is attached, means it's going to be one amino. The other naming is when you consider this one as a branch and this one your main. So it's going to be branch, it's going to be butyl amine. Of course, it's going to be first degree amine. Here now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a main chain, so it's going to be hexane, and on a third carbon the N attached, it's going to be 3 amino hexane. Now here is it's better that you choose this one as main chain. So the longest chain gonna be your main chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 here. That's why it's butane. And the first carbon, the amino N is attached. It's giving me 1 amino butane. And because nitrogen, CH3, which is methyl attached to the nitrogen, you have to say N here. N-methyl means methyl attached into nitrogen. If you put it here, it means the methyl attached to your main chain, but methyl attached to nitrogen. You have to say N-methyl. Any question?
No.
Okay, and here is another kind of naming that you say amino here, and this is 2 branches. A methyl is attached, and here's 4 of them, and it's because this 4 carbon attached from the head is N-butyl. And butyl methyl amine. Okay, here you choose one of them to be your main chain, like this one. This is your main chain, that's gonna be ethane, and these two gonna be as a branch attached to the N. So because both of them is attached to the nitrogens, you say NN, the position of them is attaching to nitrogen, dimethyl. Or because the 3 methyl attached to the N, say trimethylamine. Most of this is acceptable. Now write a 2 name for this. So you can choose your branch, main branch to be this 1, 2, 3 propane. Okay, and these two gonna be attached into nitrogen, so it's gonna be NN dimethyl, NN dimethyl to 2 amino propane because the nitrogen is attached to the second position on the main chain. Another thing is that just saying these 3 branches is attached into the end is methyl, methyl, and here is I-propyl. When the 3 carbon is attached from the middle to something, it's going to be I-propylamide, dimethyl I-propylamide. So draw a first amine, second amine, and the third amine, each with 3 C atoms in a molecule. Write 2 names for each amine. So your first degree, if you have 3 of them, of course, the N just attached to 1 carbon, and it's going to be 1 aminopropane or N-propylamine. Here is N attached to the carbon. This carbon is attached to 2 more carbon, right? It's going to be second degree. So most of this is first degree, guys, because the N attached just 1 carbon, right? Here N attached to 2 carbon. That's why this is going to be what? Second degree. As you 2 of this carbon here, 1 of this, because it's supposed to have 3 carbon in total. You put 2 of them here, 1 of them here. And here you put 1 carbon here, 1 carbon here. Make sure the N is attached to the 3 carbon, and it's 3 degree. I'm not explaining the naming, so. Write IUPAC name for the following structure. So if you take your main chain to be the longest ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 carbon, right? It's gonna be hexane. And on a 4th carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, the amino you have 4 amino, and you have 2 color on the 2nd carbon. You have 2 color, and the branches on nitrogen, it's gonna be what? Methyl. You have a NN dimethyl. Any question? It's a little bit more complex than before. As you see, how do you know the order of that? You have to do alphabetically. First C comes, then D comes, right? So then you have to first say 2 color and then NN dimethyl. Any question?
No.
Okay, for these practice questions, you just do question number 2 and 3 on page 72. Properties of amine. So boiling point, just comparing the boiling point as you go to the 3rd degree from the first degree, third degree, and compare it to the ammonia, you see it is increasing. Why? Because you have more electron, more proton here. The intermolecular force is going to be here much more higher. And that's why the boiling point increasing. Boiling point of the higher carbon, amine, and alcohol. Of course, for the alcohol is polar, has highest boiling point compared to the others, but comparing the amine and hydrocarbon is more polar. So you have higher boiling point for amine compared to hydrocarbon. So preparing amine, how do we do that? When you have alkyl halide, like what? CH3CH2 attached to a halide group, ICLF, anything halide group, and you react it with ammonia, you will get amine. How does that happen? So simply the I here and one of the hydrogens will get out, become HI, and these two attach to each other, like what you see here. This will give you the first degree amine because the nitrogen attached to the 1 carbon. Now, on the other hand, if you have a nitrogen, if you have an alkyl halide, reacting with first degree amine, like the product of that reacting with another halide, other alkyl halide, then the hydrogen here and the I get out, making HI, and this will attach itself to nitrogen. So as you see, nitrogen now attached to 2 carbon is a second degree amine. So now the 2 degree amine react with alkyl halide. So this I and H will make HI, and it's this branch attaches itself to N, and you have the 3rd degree amine. Any question?
No.
So here is synthesizing amine, means how to produce amine. I just told you this reaction. This is the summary of that you can go over. Now this is amide. Amide, you have nitrogen, but one of the carbon is double bonded with oxygen. So how do you produce an amide? If you have a carboxylic acid, C is bounded with double bond with oxygen and OH. Carboxylic acid reacted with ammonia. What is happening? OH and one of the H from the ammonia get out, form water, and this N will attach itself to the carbon, and you will see we have ethane amide. How do I name that? Because this is the branch and this is your amide, right? It's gonna be ethane amide. So butanoic acid, if you react it with alcohol, the OH from acid and H from the alcohol get out, and this attach itself from the oxygen, and you will be attached into the carbon, and you have this. Now, how do we name it? You said methyl butanoate ester. This give you, of course, an ester, because methyl is like a branch, right? Your main chain is the longest chain. That's why it's going to be butane. So then you have to add O8 for that. And you know this is going to be ester. So it's methyl butanoate. Then just look at that. This is butanoic acid. So reacting with amine. Of course, the OH and H will get out, and this N will attach itself to this. As you see, we get amide. Now, how do we name that? Again, you look at the longest chain. Is how many carbon? Is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. It's gonna be butane, and you add amide because this is amide. Now on the N, the methyl is attached, so you have to say N-methyl. Okay. Any question?
No, that's okay.
So here is another one that's, so the longest chain is attached here. 1, 2, 3, 4 is butanamide. On N, there is a 2 branches, N-ethyl and N-ethyl and methyl. So here are N, again, you have 2 branches, and this is longest chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, butanamide, and N-diethyl. This is the naming of this structure. again, 1, 2, 3 is going to be 3 carbon attached to double bond with oxygen. So it's going to be propanamide, amide, and ethyl. I think it's very clear how to name it. Draw the N isopropyl ethanamide. Isopropyl is ipropyl, right? Is the one that you the carbon from the middle one you attach to the things. So you have an N that this attached is ipropyl is attached to that from the middle carbon. Then your main chain is ethanamide, is ethane, it has a 2 carbon, right? Double bond with oxygen here. Make sure your main chain now is the one that is attached with the double bond with oxygen, not necessarily the longest one. And diethyl acetamide. So it means you have 2 branches, that ethyl, and kind of you have a 2 carbon. I know this is acetamide, just make sure when you said acid, means this is 2 carbon. I could say that ethylamide, right? Ethamide. So here is 4, question number 4 and 5. This is page 76. Properties of the amide. So amide are weak bases and are generally insoluble in water. However, the lower molecular weight amides are slightly soluble in water because of the hydrogen bonding taking place between the amide polar NH bond and the water. So because you have NH in that, it's going to give you a very polar bond, right? So it's going to be soluble in water. Amide whose N atoms are bounded to 2 hydrogen have a higher melting point and boiling point than amide that have more attached alkyl group. So it means first degree amide is more polar. It's a higher boiling point compared to the second degree and the third degree. This can be explained by increasing the hydrogen bonding required higher temperatures for the vaporization. Anyway, reaction of the amide. So draw the structure diagram amide formed from the reaction between 3-methylbutanoic. So butanoic means 1, 2, 3, 4 attached to double bond with oxygen, and 3-methyl means on the 3rd carbon. You start from here counting 1, 2, 3 is metal attached. And ethyl-methylamine. So ethyl-methyl, methyl means this is 2 branches. Ethyl and methyl attaching to the N. Now you want to do this reaction. Of course, the H and OH will get out, and these 2 simply connect to each other. And you feel that. And the naming of that is the 2 branches attached to the N. It's going to be N-ethyl. Okay, one of the branches for methyl, one of that attached to the 3rd carbon of the